What kind of man grows up inside gang culture, yet ends up respected by tech investors, Hollywood elites, rival gangs, and even city officials? And why, just days before his death, was he preparing meetings with the LAPD, while also working on a documentary many believe was too dangerous to finish? This is not just the story of Nipsey Hussle the rapper. This is the story of Nipsey Hussle the strategist, the bridge builder, and the man whose influence only became fully visible after he was gone. Born Hermias Joseph Askedom in 1985, Nipsey grew up in south-central Los Angeles, a place where survival often mattered more than dreams. His mother was African American. His father was an Eritrean immigrant who fled war and political violence, an experience that quietly shaped Nipsey's worldview. By age 14, Nipsey was already affiliated with the Rollin' 60s neighborhood Crips. But here's the question worth asking. How does someone shaped by street loyalty later become obsessed with ownership, legacy, and economic freedom? Part of the answer came when Nipsey was just 19. His father took him and his brother to Eritrea for 3 months. No comfort, no distractions. The experience shocked him. No weed. No cars. No fast money. Instead, he saw something rare in America. Families eating together every day, entire cities pausing so people could reconnect. When Nipsey Hussle returned to Los Angeles, he didn't come back triumphant. He came back aware. The city looked the same cracked sidewalks, the same liquor stores glowing late into the night, the same unspoken rules humming beneath every conversation. But Nipsey had changed. Life had forced his eyes open early. Survival was still the mission, but now there was something else layered on top of it: vision. Longevity. A future he could actually stand inside. He understood something most people never get the chance to learn in time. Talent alone doesn't save you. Hustle alone doesn't protect you. If you don't build structure around what you earn, it slips through your fingers like sand. By his early 20s, Nipsey was already making noise in the streets and the underground music scene. He was releasing music independently before independent became fashionable. The grind was real, burning CDs, selling hand-to-hand, showing up where nobody expected him. That buzz eventually landed him a deal with Epic Records. But here's the part that never makes the highlight reels. He signed that deal while actively hiding from police. This wasn't a movie. This was reality. One foot in opportunity, the other still stuck in consequences. That tension lived inside him every day. Success didn't erase danger, it magnified it. And watching his brother lose over $100,000 in cash buried in the ground taught Nipsey a lesson that cut deep. Money without systems isn't wealth. It's temporary luck. Then the music industry did what it often does. Leadership changed. Promises dissolved. The machine shifted focus. And Nipsey made a decision that would define everything that came next. He walked away. No public tantrum. No bitterness. No social media rants. Just clarity. He realized the major label system wasn't designed to build him, it was designed to use him. So instead of chasing validation, Nipsey pivoted toward leverage. That was the moment the marathon truly began. In 2013, he released Crenshaw, a mixtape, but not like anyone expected. He priced it at $100 per copy. Only 1,000 copies available. No discounts. No apologies. People laughed. Critics mocked him. Media outlets refused to promote it. They called it arrogant, delusional, career suicide. But Nipsey wasn't playing their game. Then Jay-Z quietly bought 100 copies. And suddenly, the conversation changed. Why did that moment matter so much? Because Nipsey understood something deeper than music. He understood economics. Scarcity creates value. Ownership creates power. He wasn't trying to be mass-produced. He was trying to be timeless. The mixtape sold out in under 24 hours. And with that one move, Nipsey forced the industry, and his audience, to ask a different question. What if the real revolution isn't exposure, but ownership? As his influence grew, so did the resistance. Media outlets labeled him an underachiever. They couldn't categorize him. He didn't fit neatly into their narratives. Nipsey responded not with anger, but with precision. "Don't judge me like a rapper," he said. "Judge me like a man." That mindset wasn't a slogan. It was a code he lived by. It showed up in his business decisions, his friendships, and his personal life. His relationship with actress Lauren London reflected that same philosophy. It wasn't about optics or headlines. It was about alignment. Two adults with careers. Two parents. Two people sharpening each other instead of competing for attention. No performative marriage. No curated fairy tale. Just respect, privacy, and intention. And yet, after his death, even that choice became complicated. Life has a way of doing that. While building a family, Nipsey was building infrastructure. He launched the Marathon clothing, not as merchandise, but as a message. A physical symbol of his philosophy planted right in the neighborhood that raised him. Then he did something almost unheard of. He bought the entire shopping plaza. Not rented. Not leased. Owned. Ownership meant permanence. It meant roots. It meant the block could never forget him, even if it tried. He wasn't extracting value from his community. He was reinvesting it back. He co-founded Vector 90, a STEM-focused workspace designed to pull young people off the streets and into technology, coding, and engineering. He spoke openly about cryptocurrency, calling it a tool to level the playing field in a system designed to keep people dependent and undereducated. He wasn't just thinking about money. He was thinking about freedom. But there was another project quietly taking shape, one that still sparks debate. Nipsey was working on a documentary about Dr. Sebi, a controversial healer who once defeated the state of New York in court over claims that he cured AIDS. Whether you believe Sebi or not, the story was dangerous. It challenged institutions. It questioned authority. It asked people to reconsider what they'd been taught to accept. Here's the unsettling part. Dr. Sebi died in police custody under questionable circumstances. Nipsey was killed before the documentary could be completed. Coincidence or tragic timing? Even Nipsey's own family later dismissed conspiracy theories. And maybe that's the hardest truth to accept. Not everything has a hidden villain. Sometimes the danger is right in front of you. Gang culture doesn't care about your vision. It doesn't care about your growth. It doesn't care about the future you're trying to build. On March 31, 2019, Nipsey Hussle was shot and killed outside his own store. He was 33 years old. The motive wasn't political. It wasn't strategic. It was painfully small. A street argument. A rumor. A single word, snitch, that still carries lethal weight in communities trapped in cycles of pride and pain. But what happened next rewrote history. What should have been another cycle of retaliation became something no one expected. Rival gangs didn't just stand down, they marched together. Old enemies walked the same streets, not with clenched fists, but with shared grief. Ceasefires formed where gunshots once echoed. Meetings replaced ambushes. Summits were held in rooms that had never known peace. Lines that once divided neighborhoods were suddenly respected. In death, Nipsey accomplished what few could in life. He unified enemies. The streets that raised him refused to let his name fade. The intersection of Crenshaw and Slauson, once just another crossroads, was renamed in his honor, turning concrete into a monument. Murals spread across Los Angeles like living memories, faces painted with purpose, eyes full of vision. His music surged back onto charts, but more importantly, his ideas resurfaced in conversations. People didn't just listen, they reflected. Former President Barack Obama captured it perfectly when he said, "Where others saw despair, Nipsey saw potential." And that wasn't poetry. That was truth. Nipsey wasn't selling fantasy. He was selling ownership, discipline, long-term thinking in places trained to survive day by day. He invested where banks wouldn't. He taught financial literacy where hopelessness had settled in. He stayed when leaving would have been easier and safer. Today, Nipsey's estate continues to generate wealth through music, real estate, and intellectual property. But what matters most is how it's handled. His legacy is protected by family, not exploited by outsiders chasing quick profit. His story is being developed into a Netflix documentary, not as a fairy tale, but as a complex journey. Lauren London continues raising their children while honoring his memory, not as a flawless legend, but as a man who is still learning, still growing, still imperfect. And that's what makes it powerful. So here's the question worth sitting with. What does it mean to run a marathon in a world obsessed with sprints? It means choosing patience when shortcuts are screaming your name. It means building systems instead of chasing applause. It means planting trees you may never sit under, just so someone else can breathe easier. Nipsey once said, "The marathon continues." And long after the headlines fade, long after the debates quiet down, that philosophy may be the loudest thing he ever left behind.